What is up, everyone? Welcome to the Promethean Tides. I'm General, and as always, I'm joined by Breaker. What is going on, Breaker?
Come on, man. America. China is our most valuable ally. I love China. I love Xi Jinping.
Yeah, we love China here. That is for damn certain. Just the
I love
best
China.
the best country on the planet with some of the freest and fairest elections, especially with Xi Jinping being president for life, as Trump himself pointed out last week during his speech.
And it's like one of the most popular political parties. Like the CCP is the most popular political party in the world. They have been winning elections for like over 60 years now. And they just keep on winning. I think they're winning so much they're getting sick of it. It's
Yeah,
just always that same party.
it's incredible that that all like 1.3 billion of those votes are always unanimously for the CCP. It's amazing how good they must be doing.
So incredible. So terrific.
It's the same thing with with the Democrats. It's like, wow, they are just really popular. I mean, Biden, most popular elected president in United States history. They are just so damn popular here. Good for them. Golf claps all around for the Democrats.
Wonderful.
Uh, so, uh, anyway, I guess we can just jump into a couple stories here. So there was I guess there was a missile that struck Poland, and initially people were saying, "Oh, this came from Russia. Russia is escalating things," which that would be probably extremely dumb on the part of Russia. Why would they want to instigate Poland when they're seemingly barely able to handle the Ukraine? Why would they attack a nation in NATO? That would be dumb, and it turns out that it was likely a missile fired by Ukraine that happened to, I guess, maybe accidentally land in Poland. So, based off of what has been reported, nicely done, Ukraine. Now, in this particular instance, this is a non-NATO country. The Ukraine is not in NATO, attacking a NATO country with a missile. I mean, something tells me that NATO isn't going to start trying to invade and overthrow the Ukraine over this. But it is interesting that that is something that happened. A non-NATO country attacked a NATO country, killing two.
You know what? I think it might have been something extremely stupid. Like someone forgot to push it. You know what I think it was? I think it's like all those fucking Americans going over to Ukraine and be like, "Glory to Ukraine! Putin must not win." I think it was a fucking American that didn't know how stupid ass fucking European numbers work, and they hit the wrong numbers for the coordinates, and they sent it in the opposite direction.
Right? That's an incredible thing to me. Like Russia is attacking from the east. Poland is to the west. Did the dumbass Ukrainian who launched that missile get east and west confused? Like what the fuck happened here?
If you were trying to type in like imperial measurements into a fucking metric board, I think it was like one of those weird guys from CNN that went over there. What was the good name of that guy, that newscaster guy that's like, I must now go to Ukraine and fight Putin off? Like that weird black dude.
Don Lemon.
Sure, it's funnier if it's him. I don't think it was him, but let's go with that because it's funny. It's like Don Lemon is over there. It's like, what the fuck is a metric system?
Yeah, maybe it was like yeah, maybe it was like an imperial versus metric unit thing, and then they typed in like too big of a number, and it did like an overflow, so then it reversed directions, and the negative went positive, and the positive,
Yeah,
yeah, I don't know. Like it seems like such a
it round fucking robin.
it seems like such a colossal fuck up, but yeah, it looks like it kind of it hit like a what appears to be a kind of like a farm, and 2 people were killed. It's not going to lead to war between the Ukraine and Poland, but it does make Ukraine look dumb, which is funny.
Yeah, you know what weird thing about that too is from what I remember hearing, the range of that particular missile was only 150 kilometers, but I think at the time the nearest Russian target that would have been a military target was 700 kilometers away. So that's even stranger.
Okay, well, it's saying here in the article, um, that the Polish president, I don't know how to pronounce his name, Andrzej Duda, told a press conference that there was a high chance it was an air defense missile from the Ukrainian side, and then it just ended up falling in Poland in an accident while intercepting another incoming Russian missile. So, I mean, I could potentially see that happening. I mean, I guess, uh,
Like an Iron Dome thing.
yeah, but it's funnier to imagine that just some absolutely just bottom the barrel stupid Ukrainian soldier just got east and west mixed up. That's a
Well, there was that case where there was the fucking Ukrainian soldiers on fucking Facebook that were taking selfies and little short Facebook shorts of the area they were in. And these were posted on Facebook. So the Russians just logged on to fucking Facebook as where is that building in the background of that selfie? And they shot them with missiles.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Talk about fucking stupidity, like Western fucking decadent bullshit come back to bite it in the ass made a major way. It's like, yeah, this is a public thing, you fucking dumbass. You put a fucking thing on Facebook during a war, you idiot.
Don't post your selfies online when you're in a fucking war zone. Like just and when you're
God damn it.
just don't do that.
It's such a stupid thing. It's like the type of thing you don't even think you would have to fucking tell somebody, but goddamn.
So yeah, there's that. Ended up being nothing. There was kind of an explosion in the media talking about how Russia was escalating its war effort and going to invade Poland. That appeared to have been mostly just clickbait. It was just some random bullshit that sometimes happens during war. Unfortunate for the 2 Polish civilian casualties, but in the scope of things, this ended up being a big nothing burger. But I just thought we'd go over that. So I found this to be very interesting. So, of course, the elections are still kind of ongoing for a couple of the Senate seats and a couple of the governor positions. Well, and a couple of the House positions. So I guess the election isn't over yet. Because I mean, why would it be? Why would we not want to have a 2-week long election? You know, maybe this one's going to go out to a month. Who knows? It's good for American democracy for all this to be taking place. But the Republicans have officially taken the House. We don't know the exact numbers by which they'll be taking the House. It's going to be a slim majority, but they will have a majority, and they have already opened up investigations into the Biden family. I guess not just Hunter Biden, the son, but also Papa Joe Biden. So I think that this could end
Come
up
on, man. America, my son Hunter, he's a good kid. He never did nothing to nobody. You don't need to look behind that curtain and investigators. This is Trump, MAGA conspiracy theorists that think I'm senile. America.
Don't pay attention to his rampant drug abuse, his use of hookers, and also potentially some inappropriate relations with some underage girls. Don't including maybe, you know, theoretically, not officially, but just, you know, has been stipulated potentially one particular underage girl within the Biden family. Don't pay attention to any of that. Please, just please buy his like $3 million paintings. They're really good. Just purchase them. It's for art. It's definitely not for undue political influence. It's art, guys.
Yeah, I mean, if I know anything about abstract art, if anyone remembers the previous episodes of this show, I'm sort of like an artsy fartsy type person, and I can tell you right now that the caliber of artwork that Hunter Biden is capable of producing is well worth in excess of $10 million.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you see, art has actually changed quite a bit in the modern times, and people need to catch up. You see, the more drug-addled and mental illness diseased the artist is, the higher value their art is. If you get someone just with schizophrenia and a heavy methamphetamine addiction, and you get them to just fucking throw some paint on a wall, that is actually the truest form of art. That is potentially what Hunter Biden is applying. So honestly, the valuation, it makes sense, especially in modern contexts.
Exactly, as well it should. As well it should.
But so this is from the oversight, the Committee on Oversight and Reform. This is their .gov page, and they put this up. It wasn't when I was searching this, it wasn't the first result on Google. I feel like it should have been, like, that has like that not nice .gov address to it. Like, why is it that the first thing I saw was MSNBC? I don't know. That's up to the lords at Google. But I'll read the summary of what they're planning here. I guess that this is being led by James Comer, I suppose. I guess. Ranking member James Comer and Oversight Committee Republicans are investigating the domestic and international business dealings of President Biden's son, Hunter Biden, and other Biden associates and family members to determine whether these activities compromise U.S. national security and President Biden's ability to lead with impartiality. Hunter and other members of the Biden family have a pattern of peddling access to the highest levels of government to enrich themselves. We are committed to following Hunter Biden and Biden family and associates' money trail consisting of many complex international transactions worth millions of dollars and providing answers to the American people. The American people deserve to know whether the president's connections to his family business deals occurred at the expense of American interests and whether they represent a national security threat. Huh. I mean, that is pretty based. That's aggressively based. I love every single word in that paragraph.
Very, very interesting.
Yeah. So I want everyone to notice. Okay, this is what I believe happened. Okay, I can't know. I am but a civilian. I've never been into the White House, even on a tour. Okay, so I can't know anything. But if I were to try to guess, I think that Ukraine is a very corrupt nation in Europe. Hunter Biden was sitting on the board of Burisma. This may have been helping the Ukraine to maybe get some good deals with American funding and planning and anything that could affect them. So Hunter Biden got paid a whole bunch of money to basically get high and sit on this board. This probably gained the Ukrainian energy sector with some favors from certain American politicians, like potentially Joe Biden. Then there was an investigator that came in to a Ukrainian investigator to try to figure out if there was something fishy going on. Then Biden publicly in a speech, he said, you know what? If you don't fire that investigator, then we're not going to fund. We're not going to give this amount of funding, like the however $2 billion, whatever it was. So he threatened them to stop investigating his son, or else they won't get the funding. And then, well, wouldn't you know, son of a bitch was fired. And then they stopped looking into why it is that Hunter Biden was on the board of Burisma. Then Trump heard about this, and he thought, wait, what is it? Why was the investigator fired? What is this? What happened here? And then he calls up Ukraine, and then the Democrats impeach Trump for calling up the Ukraine and trying to just figure out what the hell was going on here. Because apparently that's impeachable, but whatever Joe Biden is doing, that's good. That's good behavior. Then Biden gets into office. He continues to do a whole bunch of shady, under-the-table dealings that are enriching his family at the cost of the American people. Potentially not just with Ukraine, but maybe some other countries as well. And the Democrats never think to impeach Biden for it, because Biden is a good boy who didn't do nothing, and Trump is an orange Cheeto dictator, and he has to be ousted. And I believe that is basically the storyline here, as accurate as I believe that is. That's what I believe happened. I could be wrong, but that's my telling of the events. This is.
I mean, I don't know much about anything. I mean, I'm not a smart person, but doesn't it make more sense that the Biden family is hopelessly fucking corrupt? I'm a stupid. That's probably not true.
I think that's what Occam's razor would tell us precisely. The fact that, assuming that timeline that I laid out is more or less accurate, assuming that, we absolutely live in a fucking clown world, 100%. How is that possible for all of that to transpire? If it did, we live in a fucking clown world, 100%.
Makes me wonder about how much shit these people have been getting away with.
I know. See, the thing is that, is it the case that the corruption has been increasing, and America's becoming more and more corrupt, and it does seem as though it's fallen into a decadency. We got people voting who don't know anything about politics because it's entered popular culture, and celebrities are weighing in on things that they know nothing about, and it's becoming more of an idiocracy scenario. So maybe the corruption is easier to get away with, and America's simply becoming more corrupt as it descends into the collapse of the republic, and maybe the rise of the empire. But it could be that, or maybe it's just that we have the internet and we have a lot of data and conversations happening, and so it's more apparent now, because back in the 1960s, it's not like the news was going to tell you the happenings of what was going on in the government. You just wouldn't be able to know. Which do you think it is? Maybe a little bit of both, or what are you thinking, Breaker?
Well, I don't know about all this celebrity stuff, Technically, in a very minor sense, we're kind of like internet celebrities ourselves. And I don't know about you, but I know that I certainly would never attempt to weigh in on complex political issues that I know nothing about.
Yeah, but I would, Breaker. God damn it, I would.
Yeah, fucking goddammit.
Hey,
see, this is the type of things. These are the type of things that are impeachable. This is why Orange Cheeto Hitler was fucking called on by the Democrats. Like, time for more soy.
You know what? Just because I might be part of the problem doesn't mean that I can't point to the problem. But yeah, but no, but what do you think? Do you think it's just the internet happened and there's more information out there, or do you think that it's the idiocracy scenario? Which one do you think is more likely?
I think in some way it's always been a bit of an idiocracy. Now you just get to see and hear about more of it. So I think it's just a matter of scale and scope and how aware you can be with the advent of modern technology. Now, that in combination with just people kind of being dumbed down over time by said technology, I think this is a grand convergence of those two super permeable forces throughout the modern zeitgeist, crashing together at maximum speed and creating a massive explosion of dumbassery.
This is truly the best timeline. There were other timelines where we were already back on the moon, or we had already gone to Mars, or we had put some real fucking force behind finally achieving a thermal hot fusion, and we have just almost unlimited energy. There are realities that exist like that, but we have this reality, and I think it's the best one because it is the funniest. It's the most comical, so it's good. It doesn't take itself too seriously, this version of reality. Uh, so this is also from James Comer. He says, evidence obtained by committee Republicans reveals Joe Biden lied to the American people about his involvement in his family's business schemes. The Biden family business model is built on Joe Biden's political career and connections with Joe Biden as the chairman of the board. Biden family members sold access for profit around the world to the detriment of American interests. If Joe Biden is compromised by deals with foreign adversaries and they are impacting his decision-making, this is a threat to national security. The American people deserve transparency and accountability about the Biden family's influence peddling. With the new Republican majority, Oversight Committee Republicans will continue pressing for answers to inform legislative solutions to prevent this abuse of power. So, all right, very based, very red-pilled. I don't know James Comer. I don't know anything about him, but he seems like a pretty cool guy. If he was in my state, I would vote for him. And
Yay!
this is some details about some press releases about, I guess, the direction that they're going to be going in these investigations. One thing that I'd like to point out is that sometimes if you're investigating someone, you don't necessarily want to tell them all of the things that you're going to be investigating. Like maybe you have a list of 5 things and you say, we're going after these 2 things, but actually you're going after 5 things if the person doesn't know the full extent of the investigation. It makes strategic sense. So this may not even be all of what they're looking into. So they've launched a probe of Hunter Biden's Chinese-backed cobalt mine deal. So they're looking at a deal that was made with a cobalt mine. Let's see. Comer Oversight Republicans press Yellen on Russian oligarch tied to Hunter Biden. Okay, so we got the Russians in here. And Biden's brother peddled political connections in Middle East to secure loan from private business. So what they're putting out there thus far is some Chinese, Middle Eastern, and Russian connections. Now, here's the thing. Out of the adversaries that exist to the United States, those are the 3 adversaries. Like, those are the 3 ones: the Middle East, China, and Russia. Like, why couldn't he be making fucking business deals with, I don't know, Britain or Canada or something? At least if he was making shady deals to benefit him to benefit himself with those countries, it wouldn't be as bad. At least he's not actively helping the enemy, but no, he just had to do it because maybe it was more lucrative to help out the Chinese and the Russians and the goddamn Middle East. What is this?
I can tell you one thing. Out of those three that you mentioned, I can't help but wonder how the Democrat voting base, having been primed for the last how long fucking is it? Like 6 years at the very least, with nonstop Russia bad fucking propaganda and Rachel Maddowisms. I mean, if it does come to light that there is a Russian connection with the Bidens, how are the Democrats going to square this circle inside of their minds? It's like, will Russia suddenly become good?
I Yeah, that would be a tough one. Because Russia, according to the Democrats, is the country that rigged the 2016 elections to get Trump into office. Apparently, everyone that voted for Trump in 2016 was actually just a Russian bot. Uh, so Russia bad. Russia invades Ukraine. Russia bad. We all have to support Ukraine and wear little Ukrainian lapels in solidarity with Ukraine because Russia bad. But then, good man, good man Biden backs Russia. That's not that. I how I wouldn't put it past the Democrats though to just switch the talking points and say actually Russia actually not that bad. They do that kind of shit all the time. They go, "Oh, no, actually the narrative has changed. Everyone needs to change their opinions now. Just do a little bit of intellectual acrobatics to make that work inside your head, and we're all good." They have a history of doing that. I mean, I as a small example, feminism used to be the good thing. Now the feminists are TERFs because they're not supporting the men who take estrogen enough, and they are. I mean, they could. It's very easy for them to just fucking switch up their principles. It doesn't matter.
Exactly. They're being very transphobic. I'm extremely offended.
To be fair, uh, uh, Breaker does have tits, but it's not because of estrogen.
How dare you? You need to respect my identity. I'm a bodybuilder.
um,
I'm building my body with McDonald's.
yeah, you're man, you're getting swole. I'll tell you what. Uh,
Exactly.
um,
Behold my feminine beauty.
yeah, and then so there's just some more some more media highlights. Representative James Comer. What? Let me just where it is. He is Kentucky. Okay, so he's a congressman from Kentucky. He represents the first district. Cool. All right, and it looks like he's been in office for a while. He's not of course he's not a freshman. They wouldn't have a freshman lead such a very politically important committee. But yeah. So I guess that we'll have to wait and see where this goes. Obviously, they haven't really released any evidence yet. They're still really just spinning up the investigation, but it would be really interesting to see what comes out of this. I mean, if Trump having a phone call to the Ukraine was grounds for impeachment, I mean, just by the Democrats' own logic that they said so much during Trump's impeachment, by their own logical standards, which they can be quoted on, which there is video evidence of them talking about some of these standards by which impeachment is viable, then if they find even a shred of evidence that that the Biden family was benefiting financially from the actions of Joe Biden, I think that's I mean that's just he has to be impeached. I mean, get out of here. Obviously, that would mean that Kamala would get in, and I'm not certain that anyone necessarily wants Kamala in. I mean, uh, it's like a younger yet dumber Hillary Clinton is what she is. Uh,
And without the adept Machiavellian manipulation capacities, like, if there was going to be like an evil cackling witch in the White House, honestly, at this point, Hillary Clinton would probably be the better choice. If we had to have an evil cackling witch, I would prefer Hillary Clinton because at least she's ruthless and she'll kill a motherfucker.
I know, like which would we rather have? Just stupid, incompetent evil, or like cunning and conniving evil? I'm not sure which one is better, but part of me says, yeah, like, let's get the smarter person in. Uh, but I don't know which
We came, we saw, he died.
Let's go. uh, uh, so I know that you're not huge on politics. You're self-breaker, but yeah, if which do you think would cause less damage to the country? Um, Joe Biden staying on as president, or him getting impeached and then Kamala becoming president? Because I think that Kamala might, in some ways, be worse.
I think they're both probably going to be exactly the same because, I mean, not as though I can prove anything, mind you, but I think there's more like behind the curtain shit going on here. So whether or not it's Alzheimer's Howdy Doody corpse puppet or it's cackling license plate merchant puppet, I don't think it really matters which corpse puppet is in there.
Right, yeah, because neither of them are making their own decisions. Someone or something is pulling the strings. Could it be Jalians? Who knows?
Probably Jalians.
People
it's always Jalians.
People who didn't watch one of the previous shows are gonna think that that's like an anti-Semitic thing. It's not Jewish aliens. It's actually Jesus aliens. That was the original joke. Okay, so we're not trying to be anti-Semitic here. Okay, get off our backs.
Yeah, Jesus aliens in the form of snails specifically.
God.
All I know is that there's a certain person listening to this, actually, a very specific person, and you need to wake up. You've been in a coma for the last 20 years. You need to wake up.
Please do. So, yeah, we'll see what comes of that. I think they'll probably be able to find something. I mean, I think, honestly, the amount of evidence that exists just on the internet right now is grounds for an impeachment. And by the way, again, impeachment just means a trial. It doesn't mean, like, they actually get removed from office. I think that just the evidence that exists right now is grounds enough to start up a trial, in my opinion. But here from Reuters, there was a G20 summit that occurred. So this is with 20 different important countries throughout the world. This is it's just one piece of the globalist empire. You have the UN, you got NATO, you got the G20, you got the what do you call that? The monetary one. It's slipping my mind.
The World Economic Forum.
Yeah. The WEF. Sorry. All of these different things are just, they're different parts of this globalized government that they're trying to set up so that they can control things and people more effectively, because they're smart and they're benevolent and they know what's best for you, and you should trust them. Always trust them. They have more power than you, and they theoretically earned that power due to a meritocratic system in theory. And so So you should trust them. They are your betters. You are the lowly folk. You are the commons. You're the peons. You're the plebs. Stop trying to think that you know what's good for you. You don't. These people know what's good for you.
Exactly. That's why you should be grateful that they're going to be programming all the central bank digital currency. Because, if you just had currency to buy whatever you wanted, I mean, if you look around America and the Western world in general, like, people buy a lot of junk that they don't need. So, it's going to be a lot better that there's a financial elite that makes really good financial decisions, if nothing else. And they're going to be the ones responsible for programming your money on what it can and cannot be used for.
This is actually what we need. Um, so here's the thing, right? As we move closer and closer to to the singularity, when we will achieve our post scarcity civilization, we're going to have 8 billion people with not a lot to do. They're going to be made obsolete by godlike AIs. So basically, you need to make sure these people have jobs. Now, are those jobs necessary? No, probably not. I mean, look at human resources and diversity boards. These aren't necessary jobs, but they keep people employed. Look at most of the people that worked at Twitter. Did they do anything? No, but it keeps them employed. It's like daycare, but for adults. We don't want them to have idle hands. Idle hands means that I don't know, they might start doing something that would be bad for the system. So you keep them busy with the adult daycare, okay, and then the government will give you free shit, okay. It'll be allocated to you, so you won't be able to choose the free shit that you want, but you will get your standard government issued car from Car Brand. It will be a car. It will have 4 wheels, and you will be happy. You'll get your government issued apartment. It'll be a small apartment, kind of I guess, pod shaped, if you will. You'll be alone. You'll be allowed to have up to 2 cats. You'll be assigned 1, but you can have up to 2. And this is the system that we can actually start marching towards. And it'll be great. This is a fantastic system for humanity, and people will love it. Everyone's gonna love it. I think some people will love it more than others. To be fair, some people they enjoy having the boots on their face a little bit more than other people. Just it's in their wiring, it's in their system. Some people they like sucking the cock of authority, but everyone's gonna love it. It's gonna be fantastic. So don't worry, guys. These people know what's best for you. Until
You're gonna love it. Believe me, it's gonna be so terrific, so magnificent. You're gonna love it.
So here's some things that came out of the G20 summit. Well, actually, while I'm on that kind of that side that detour why are words slipping my brain? It's a verbal detour, a tangent. While I'm on that tangent, I actually last night and also this afternoon, I watched the entirety of Pro God, what is the name of it? It's
Oh, Jared?
no, it's a oh God, what is it?
Not Cyberpunk.
No, it's not Cyberpunk, but it's similar. It was it just came out on AMC. It starts with a God. Hold on, one second.
I don't know modern television. Now on
Pantheon.
AMC.
Pantheon. That's what it is. So it was released in September on AMC. It's called
Don't forget to unpause.
Yeah. No, it's called it's called Pantheon. I kept thinking Prometheus in my head. I'm like, that's not it, but it starts with a P. It's a very adult animated show, and it actually deals with the idea of the impending technological singularity and how they've developed the technology to upload people's minds into into the cloud, uh, and it deals with these like super uh, like powerful tech companies that are doing this technology, and they're keeping it all secret, and they have their own motives and goals, and they seem to be more powerful than most world governments, and they're not, they think that they think that they're doing what's best for mankind, but in fact they're probably dooming mankind, but like they're really certain that what they're doing is right. And I was like, man, this is so sci-fi. It sounds nothing like our world. No, but I would recommend it. Uh, it was a really good show. It's only 8 episodes. I hope they do a second season. Um, but yeah, Pantheon. It's from AMC. I'm not saying that I
Not watch much TV anymore, so. Though I would have to recommend another more adult-dated program that has been very popular as of late, and that would be Big Mouth.
Oh, okay,
Especially.
all right. No, go ahead, Brick. I want to hear the rest of your endorsement.
Oh yeah.
No. Oh, okay. All right. So, you don't want to finish that endorsement, Breaker?
Well, the thing about Big Mouth is that, it's about pubescent.
Pubescent children. Yeah, yeah, who are dealing with their some stuff.
Fueled by the scent of them.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's kind of a bit of a weird show. I watched the first season, the entirety of the first season. I was a little bit weirded out by it. I didn't come back for the second. Anyway, so the G20 summit. When it comes to the Ukraine and Russia, I guess they spent a lot of time talking about that issue. And let's see, French President Emmanuel Macron said the G20 leaders agreed to push Russia towards de-escalation in the Ukrainian conflict, and expressed hope that China could play a bigger mediation role in the coming months in that respect. Not that they're going to. China doesn't give a shit. China's going to do whatever China wants. China is big dog.
China.
Let's see. The U.S. Continues to call for international support for Ukraine, of course, because the U.S. we love Ukraine. Let's see. The Ukrainian president Vladimir Zelensky called earlier on G20 leaders to adopt a 10-point peace formula. I'm not a big fan of Zelensky personally. I don't really care what he has to say. And the Russian foreign minister Sergei Lavrov, who headed the Russian delegation to the summit in the absence of President Vladimir Putin, condemned the politicization of the meeting. I mean, to be fair, I understand his point that it probably was very politicized, but also this is the G20. The entire thing is politicized. There's not an ounce of it that isn't politicized. That's like condemning the ocean for being salty and wet. It's like, well, that's what the ocean is. Like you should expect that. Don't drink ocean water if you're thirsty. Let's see, for the monetary policy.
I remember they complain about if my signal is still alive. That is, probably not.
No, I can hear you. Go ahead. Or maybe I can't hear you. Let's see, the monetary policy. Leaders of the world's biggest economies agreed to pace their interest rates. Their interest rate rises carefully to avoid spillovers and warned of increased volatility in currency moves. So, this is a good, I think, something I might agree with. So, inflation has been a problem. And what's a major way that uh, a a monetary institution like the Federal Reserve can reduce the rate of inflation? Well, you increase interest rates.
Great.
Oh,
Yay, I'm
you're good. You're
back.
back. Nice. The so by increasing uh, interest rates, okay, you have effectively decreased inflation, but you've done so not by increasing supply, but decreasing demand. So you are shrinking your economy. You're essentially pulling your economy into a recession in order to combat inflation. And the inflation is also bad for the economy and could itself cause a recession. So it's almost like a chemotherapy. You're attempting to poison the body in the hopes that it kills the cancer before it kills the person. I guess that I don't know if that's a perfect metaphor, but that's how I understand it. Uh, which may work, or sometimes it may make things worse. Potentially, you're just poisoning everything. So, I mean, like, I think that at this point, maybe we need to increase the interest rates just a smidge, because you do need to increase the you need to increase the demand a little bit, get the supply up and running. Like you do have to do that to, jumpstart the economy again, and hopefully inflation won't get too bad. It's a I mean, uh, all of these problems, of course, were caused by people deciding that if it saves a single life, then it's worth uh, murdering your economy. That's what they. Yeah, okay, yeah. Kill off. We don't need the economy. The government provides for us. So kill off the economy, shut down a whole bunch of businesses, and that's how we protect us from COVID. And then we'll just sit around and have people, I guess, work from home, and kids will go to school from home, and they'll be right there on their webcams learning at their school while wearing a mask, probably, because why the hell not? And that'll and then the government will just come in and make everything better, and then yeah, it'll be great. Well, it turns out that didn't work so well. So now we find ourselves in a bit of a kerfuffle, and no one knows exactly what to do. And the U.S. was not the only individuals at fault in this. Europe, it took some very stupid measures. China took uh, some of the dumbest measures that I think that they could have taken. I mean, what is zero COVID policy? You have a population of more than 1 billion. Do you really think that zero COVID policy makes any goddamn sense?
Well, you see, the thing about zero COVID policy is if a single person gets COVID, then everyone will die, and it'll be your fault. You killed grandma. How dare you? That's why all your children have to look like this.
Yeah, this just in from Breaker. We have the my self portrait. It's just, oh God, that's so tragic. It's just a mask. Oh God. Uh,
I think this might be a plot to turn. God damn it, my signal's dying. Someone help me.
oh no, I can still hear you.
Am I still alive?
Yeah, yeah, all good.
Yay.
Uh,
But yeah, this might be a plot to turn all kids into furries.
I, God, I hope not, because that's I think that that's the worst thing that a person could become. I think that I mean, what is worse than a furry? I can think of a few things like, mm, hmm. Is there anything that's worse than a furry in this world? Like genocidal dictators? No, they're not as bad as furries. Um, hmm. Necrophiliacs? Probably not as bad as furries. Okay, all right.
Well, the thing about necrophiliacs is sometimes there's necrophiliac furries.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, see, that's an important point. Take anything degenerate and disgusting and slap furry onto it, and it'll be even worse.
Like a times 10 degeneracy modifier.
Exactly. It's like, okay, there are people that are into like BDSM. They want to be tied up and slapped and whatnot. But then make it furry BDSM, and it's a whole new fucking ball game.
Degeneracy.
Okay, so then they also.
But anyway.
They also had some things to say about climate change. So the G20 leaders agreed to pursue efforts to limit the global temperature increase to 1.5 degrees Celsius. I guess that would be per year. And well, okay, that's not going to do anything. I believe that this is how the world works. So basically, this is what you would call. And this isn't even necessarily something that I think is that big of a deal. In my opinion, I think that specifically when it comes to carbon dioxide, that's actually a negative feedback loop. That is to say, the more carbon dioxide that exists in the environment, the less plants have to open up their stomata in order to diffuse that CO2 into their leaves, the less that they have to open their stomata, the more they can exist in arid conditions, the more that you have plants able to exist in arid conditions, the more plants you get. The more plants you get, the lower the CO2 gets. So, like, I maybe, I'm not a climate scientist, but it would seem to me as though by increasing the amount of CO2 in the atmosphere, you would actually you would decrease desertification. So actually, some of these more like arid desert-like areas would actually have more plants in them, and then plants affect the environment, and they could actually make those more arid areas less arid, and then actually stimulate even more plant growth. So from my perspective, I think that focusing on CO2 is like probably not the wisest thing. Because I think that people are looking at this as not as a complex system with feedback loops. God, now I sound like a cybernetician. But the climate is a complex system with feedback loops, and they're looking at it from a completely linear perspective, and they're going, well, but carbon is greenhouse gas, so it makes Earth hot. And they're not. It's stupid, in my opinion. I don't know. Maybe some climate scientist would vehemently disagree with me on that. But so I don't even think it's that big of a deal that we're releasing CO2. There's other things that I don't want to be released. I actually like the environment. I like nature. I don't think that we should be putting poisons into the rivers or into the ground. I'm against that. I'm just saying CO2 is not the thing that I think people think it is. It's far too simplistic of thinking, especially from the part of the left. But even so, let's imagine that CO2 was this massive issue. This is what's going to happen. It's called the tragedy of the commons. All these countries come together and they go, yes, we will agree to limit our CO2. Now, by limiting your CO2, you're limiting your economy, because our economy is energy-based. When you don't have enough energy, your economy shrinks. Oh, wow, look what happened to the United States when we suddenly have to depend on other nations for our energy needs, and we don't get it here at home. And we shut down the Keystone XL pipeline. Like, oh, it hurts the economy to not have energy? Who would have known? So what happens then? Well, some of the countries go, yeah, we have to reduce our carbon footprint, like Germany. But those are the stupid people who actually try to contribute to this. China goes, yes, we will contribute to it. And then they go back to their country and they say, what a bunch of fucking morons. Let's keep burning the coal. And then they burn the coal. And then their economy grows and the other economies shrink. And then they get to be more powerful. This is the tragedy of the commons. Only an idiot would actually respect this sort of climate policy. And I guess that we know which countries are led by idiots. For instance, Germany. Thank you, Germany. And also Joe Biden, to be fair. So there's that. Any comments about that, Breaker? I know you don't care that much about the climate.
I know the worst thing that could possibly be released would be more furries.
That's
because
true.
furries produce the most CO2 out of anything because of all the flatulence fetishes in furrydom.
Well, and they're also a bunch of mouth breathers. Um, and also they're just they are themselves actually pollution. It's not that like yeah, furries produce pollution, but actually it is the furry themselves that is a unit of pollution. We have to keep that in mind.
Yeah, we need to stop worrying about so much about carbon footprints and worry more about carbon paw prints.
Oh, Christ. Um, So let's see. Biden, moving off the climate here, Biden said that Britain was America's closest ally and closest friend, uh, which I think is, I mean, it's kind of true. I mean, technically speaking, Canada is closer, at least geographically. Um, but and I mean, they provide way more oil to us than Britain ever could. So I don't know. I mean, I think Canada's up there as well. But all right, yeah, I mean Britain is a close friend of ours. The nations that speak English tend to be close friends of the United States. I don't know if anyone's ever noticed that before, but if you speak English, you're a friend. We like the countries that speak English. Um, maybe the reason why Canada isn't getting the number one spot from Biden there is because they do have that Quebecois population.
Mm, yeah, like leave it to the French to cause problems everywhere they go.
Yep. Uh, Let's see. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau raised serious concerns over suspected domestic interference by China in his talks with President Xi on Tuesday in more than three years. Oh man, I don't know if you saw this video. It was Justin Trudeau like trying to speak to Xi, and like Xi was just kind of ignoring him. It was kind of funny because it's like it's like it would be Canada is a tiny, not very influential country. It's only important to the U.S. because it's big and they have oil there. Otherwise, we wouldn't care about them. So it would almost be like if Trump walked into the G20 and then like the prime minister of Nepal like walked up to him and tried talking to him. Trump would be like, why are you even trying to talk to me? Do you know who I am? I'm the president of the United States. You're from Nepal. It's like one of those things. Um, so yeah, I guess that's from Reuters. I guess that's the some of the main bullet point takeaways from the G20. Um, yeah, there's that little piece of news. Just keep you guys all aware of the what the globalist elites have planned for you.
Probably Xi Jinping was annoyed with Trudeau, to be honest, because Xi Jinping was just like probably folding his arms, and be like, "Oh, this motherfucker! Isn't it like fucking Klaus Schwab's turn to walk this stupid fucking dog? Get out of my sight, you bastard spawn of Fidel Castro!"
I mean, also if here would be my question to Justin Trudeau. Like, if there are concerns over Chinese domestic interference or influence in Canada, then why is it that Canada has decided to have an open borders policy with China, where all the wealthy Chinese people can just buy up as much land as they want in Canada because they don't want to keep it in China. They want to offshore it, and so that's what they do. They specifically offshore it into Canada because hey, it's simple. I mean, Trudeau. I don't know if you realize this, but you're the prime minister of Canada. You could probably do something about this, but I guess you don't want to. Do you feel like it would be too racist to have some checks on that when it comes to massive Chinese influence in the Canadian economy, especially the housing market? I mean, I don't know what you're the leader, dude. You can like actually try to make some moves about dealing with this thing, but you're a you're just a you're a you're not a great person, Trudeau. Uh, you know, Nietzsche would call you. He wouldn't say that you were good in either way. He would say that you are both bad and weak. So I want to point that out.
He's horrible. He's a terrible person. You're gonna hate him, believe me.
So yeah, there's that. Moving on to the next thing. Elon Musk released a poll to Twitter asking if people wanted Donald Trump to be reinstated. And I guess that with 15 million Twitter users voting in the poll, you got about 51.8% voting in favor of reinstatement. So, it's I guess it's very narrow, but I think that this leads on to something that is a little bit more interesting. So, okay, maybe Trump will be reinstated. I mean, he is running to be president of the United States. Former president Donald J. Trump is running for his second term, and Twitter is uncertain about whether he should be on their platform. That I can't. That doesn't make any sense in my head. But and almost half. I mean, nearly half of the people, I guess, are saying no, he shouldn't be because he's bad, and this is a platform not for free speech, but for approved speech from the corporate overlords. When the corporate overlords say that the speech is approved, that's when you can say it. But if it's not approved by the corporate overlords, then you can't say it, because I believe in corporatism. I like being told what to do. I want a nanny state, and freedom scares me. Freedom of speech, it scares me. Freedom to do anything, it scares me, because I like to be told what to do. Govern me harder, daddy. Maybe that's what these people are about. I don't know. But I've heard some speculation that in fact this is actually it's a honeypot for finding out what the bots are on Twitter, essentially.
Would not surprise me. I'm sure there are so many freaking. I remember back when I was on Twitter a lot during the 2016 run-up and subsequent election. And I would see all these massive Twitter accounts that were just like random shit. Like I remember seeing one that was the avatar was just an alien, and there was another one where the avatar was like a puma, and all they did was retweet and tweet about left-wing political shit and Hillary Clinton and Democrats, and they had like millions of followers.
I mean, to be fair, just because they have an animal avatar doesn't mean that they're bad. I mean,
well, here's the thing. I looked into their history.
I'm a frog.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. I mean, not necessarily, but I looked into the history, the tweet history, and literally these things only tweeted during like election, like midterms and presidential elections. That's the only time they ever tweeted anything. Everything in between was just a fucking black hole of absolutely nothing.
Probably bots. Yeah, I agree. I think there's probably a ton of bots on Twitter. Speaking of which, actually, let's go down a tangent real quick. So, like my assumption is that different types of furries have different personalities, right? Like the type of person who puts on like one of those wolf or like husky dog fursuits, it's gonna be a different type of person than one who puts on like a dragon fursuit or a cat fursuit or like a monkey fursuit or whatever the hell these people wear. What if okay? My avatar is a frog. No, I'm not. I want to point out I'm not a furry. I nor would I ever want to be associated with the furry community. But if
suspicious.
But what type of personality do you think the frog fursuit person would have? First question: Are there any people who actually wear a frog fursuit? Second question: Does it look more like a Kermit the Frog fursuit? which I feel is a bastardization of what a frog actually is. And then 3, if people do actually wear that suit, do you think that like what does that say about that particular furry's personality? I'm just from the bottom of my heart, I'm curious.
The only time I've ever seen frog fursuits was either one, a weird circus performer slash acrobat contortionist type of dude that was extremely skinny, or it was like morbidly obese women. Those are usually the frogs. Which, if you look at the morphology of frogs and the sexual dimorphisms, I mean, kind of true to reality.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So my spirit animal is actually, it's just a morbidly obese woman. Okay, that's good to hear. I like that. That's okay. That makes me feel good on the
Or
inside.
a weird, skinny, contortionist circus actor guy that's probably French.
I certainly don't want to be associated with the French. I'd rather be associated with the morbidly obese woman.
Oh, I will leap from Lillipad to Lillipad to reach you, mon chéri. Oh.
Yeah. So all right, we'll get off that subject and back to the Elon Musk Twitter thing. Yeah. So I think that I've heard this speculated, and I think it kind of makes sense. This could just be a honeypot for bots. Like Elon is just going in, and maybe he probably intends to reinstate Trump anyway, because how could he not? Like Trump drives so much traffic for Twitter. Just from an economic business perspective, he has to put Trump back on the platform. Trump may not come back. I mean, he seems to be relatively happy doing his truths instead of his tweets, but I think it makes sense for Elon to put Trump back on the platform. I think that he's trying to figure out who the bots are, and he's this isn't. I don't think this is the first time that he's done this. He's done similar things in the past where he kind of goes through this confusing, almost Byzantine methodology to uncover things, to trick bots or to trick ne'er-do-wells. So I think that's what this could be, and he might continue to do exactly this type of tactic if indeed that is what he is doing. If anyone is going to be playing 4D chess, I would imagine that actually Elon Musk is he probably does play 4D chess. Like, I mean, I don't think it's Biden that's playing 4D chess, that's for certain, but I think Elon Musk is actually capable of playing some of that multi-dimensional chess-like games. So
would not surprise me.
Now, Breaker, you're on Twitter. I'm not, because for kind of a similar reason I'm not on TikTok. I think that it's essentially an algorithm that is designed to make money by exploiting you and making you worse off as an individual. We've actually talked about this on a couple episodes ago. So that's why I one of the reasons why I don't like to go on these social media platforms. It's a parasite on your brain, I believe. But you're on this website. Did you participate in the poll?
Now that I think about it, I probably should go do that when I have the opportunity. So, yeah, of course I will be voting yes for the Maymays.
It's closed now. You missed.
Oh man, did Trump win?
Yeah, he did win. He got by a slim margin. He got like 52%.
Damn, that was one hell of a runoff. Well, at least that's one poll that was not fortified by Democrats.
I mean, given the number of bots that are on there, it might have been heavily fortified by Democrats, but
well, not well enough because Orange Man succeeded, so that's never good news.
God damn it! We need to fortify it harder in the future.
Exactly.
Also, why is it that this poll that Elon did why is it that we're not waiting 3 weeks after the event to discover the results? Why did we get the results in real time? That's so strange. How is it that Elon Musk can do it, but the federal government can't? I that doesn't make I don't know what's going on there. Uh must not be fortified well enough, I suppose. Elon Musk needs to look into the fortification technology.
Well, all I know is that the most important thing about fortification is that when Democrats have a sufficient number of votes to pull out a victory, it is extremely important that all the ballot harvesting. If
Breaker, you broke up there a bit. Do you wanna repeat that?
not really, just
Yeah.
keep going.
All right. Okay. All right. That's fine. So there's some stuff about Twitter. The story just it continues to evolve, and I guess also this week there are a bunch of people that were saying that Twitter was dying, and I mean, it didn't, but there were some people that were saying that it was. Um, I what I think that what has become very apparent during this entire ordeal is that Twitter didn't need all of those employees. What did it have? Like 3,000 employees or some gargantuan number like that. Apparently, it didn't need any of like almost any of those employees. I'm going to assume that a lot of those employees were tied up in like human resources, the making sure that Twitter was compliant with ESG scores, the diversity, inclusion, and equity die sort of things, and well, you don't apparently you don't really need that to run Twitter, I guess. So, uh, all these employees, uh, and it's not just in Twitter actually. There's been a lot of layoffs recently of people that were in that intersectional human resources game, and they're being laid off because when the economy takes a downturn, these companies can't afford these adult babysitting jobs, and then these people they get laid off, and it's so sad and so tragic because they were doing such good for humanity, making sure that everyone was as diverse and friendly as possible all of the time. Well, I guess it's not strictly necessary for most of these companies, so that's also some good news to. I mean, that's the one silver lining behind the economic downturn, I suppose. It really purges the people who aren't necessary. Anyway.
Well, if anything, I believe that Elon Musk should be considered as a candidate for sainthood, because what he's enabled these Twitter-based individuals that he has laid off to now do is he's finally given them the opportunity that they've always wanted to live among the extremely diverse and downtrodden homeless populations of California, to where they can bring the message of diversity and inclusivity and multiculturalism to all of these people that they have made so many claims throughout the years to care so very much about.
That's true. That's true. They can experience the they can experience diversity. They can experience the poor, unwashed masses, and in fact, they don't have to live in the pot and eat the bugs. They can live in the tent and eat bugs. So it's really it's win-win-wins on all sides. Everyone should be happy about the result of this.
They're going to have so many bugs. They're going to they're going to live out the Marxist dream. They're going to return to perfect social man, and they're going to live like their ancient primordial ancestors did before the capitalist pig demon fell from a meteor from the sky. So they're going to be behaving more like their primate ancestors, and they're going to be picking many, many bugs out of the hair of various homeless people.
See, here's the unfortunate thing though, right? Like if I had to go eat bugs, I would rather eat like grasshoppers, in like out in like rural countryside. I would rather eat those bugs. I don't necessarily want to be eating the cockroaches in L.A. It doesn't seem quite as nice of a bug to eat, but hey, you know what? Up to them. Different choices for different voices. Yeah. Anyway,
We'll go with that.
yeah. So those are those are some of the major I guess stories that came out this week. So and those are some opinions about those stories, because we here at Promethean Tides, we're filled with opinions. I guess especially myself when it comes to politics. Breaker maybe not so much. He's a little bit less opinionated, but that's okay.
Some opinions not so well articulated than other opinions.
I think that maybe we need to increase the spice level of our opinions. You know, just take them up to the next level.
Well, I mean, I've already done, like, I've compared the fridge to frogs. I've shit on furries multiple times. I mean, what else do you want?
I mean, that's good. It is going in the right direction. Yeah. I mean, I guess
Just make sure that if you racially insult anyway, just make sure that they're white, because no one will care.
no one will care. That's why we here at Promethean Tides, we insult the Germans readily, without a care in the world. We do so with like a giddy school girl skipping down a field, skipping down a field with lilies. You know, just carefree. You know, that's how we insult the Germans here. And you know, part of the reason is because we can get away with it, and then, you know, the other part of the reason is because legitimately they deserve it. So you know, there it is.
Yeah, and of course we would never dream of insulting successful and culturally enriched African Americans like Elon Musk.
That's right. That's right. No, Elon Musk is. You can't go insulting him. He's he's one of the special class. You know, he's the wealthiest African American.
Yes, he even beat Oprah.
Yeah, and Kanye. I mean, that is,
Exactly.
you know, Elon Musk. Actually, I believe that he should be a hero to all African Americans, someone that they can look up to, someone who's done very well in business, someone from Africa directly. Just a real hero, I believe.
Yeah, so one day soon we will see Elon Musk's Elon Tusk. I
What is Elon Tusk? I don't understand this.
don't know. It's something Siphon thought of. It was funnier when he said it.
Oh,
God
okay.
damn it.
Right, it's like the Jaliens, right? Okay.
When the Tusk is finally revealed, we will see his true power level laid bare to the world, and it'll basically be like John Galt. And he'll say, "Fuck off, all of you! Screw you guys! I'm going home." And then he will leave us in 1,000 years of darkness, at the end of which he will return as a transhuman god emperor and shepherd us all into the promised land, into space, with chips in our brains.
Just a mass exodus to Mars with Elon. Actually, okay. In that case, here's the thing, right? Following the Warhammer 40K lore, um, Elon Musk would not be the God Emperor, right? Trump would be the God Emperor. Elon Musk would be, I guess, like the ruler of the Adeptus Mechanica, right? He would take a whole bunch of people, go to Mars, and just focus on technology for like 10,000 years. So Elon Musk is the leader of. He's like the embodiment of the Adeptus Mechanica. Mechanica.
Good luck pronouncing that 5 times faster. But yay, wonderful Elon Musk and technology and future. Future. Future.
So, Breaker, do you think that we're approaching the horizon, the technological singularity. Do you think that like maybe that's why the world is becoming so like messed up? It's because it's changing too fast and humans just can't keep up with the pace of change.
I think it already happened like over 10 years ago, to be honest with you. I think the mere existence of social media itself is like a massive human interconnecting circuit board, and we're all literally just cybernetic nodes right now. And you don't even need to conspiracy theorize. Like, that is the technology right now. You don't need to imbue it with any type of magical power, just the regular internet with social media.
Yeah, it definitely seems as though it's on an inflection point. Like it's not at the asymptote yet, but it's on an inflection point. Um, yeah, I don't know. It's like I don't think man was not built for this world. We evolved too slowly to be able to, I think, exist that well in a world that exists like this. I mean, I don't think that we even have really had the chance to uh, fully evolve in response to the agricultural revolution, right? Like, grains are still not the best thing for you, but that's what agriculture provides the most of. That's where you get most of your calories from. It's grain. Um, we're just, man. I really don't think that we're built for this type of world.
Well, if anything, you could liken it to an environmental cataclysm. Like, uh, ancient life forms weren't built for post meteor strike Earth either, but they did the best they could with what they had.
No, that's true. They got there eventually, but that's because the environment eventually became stable. Like if there's one feature of the ecosystem that mankind produces, and I'm saying that the 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 world of man with our cities and our economy and our trade and our goods and services and consumable products. Uh, this is essentially just another ecosystem, and the ecosystem that mankind tends to create, it's always in flux. It's always changing. It never seems to have a stable state to it, and the 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 faster and faster the technological progress goes, uh, the 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 less stable it seems to become.
Yeah, I think one possibility for the future of social media and internet technologies and all these types of things, it will probably eventually flatten out and stabilize in a similar way that you're describing, where, okay, most normie people will simply not have access to social media anymore. It will become something akin to a type of religious taboo to use the internet for anything other than like strictly economic purposes, like maybe work and maybe occasionally shopping. Social media and interconnectivity of that kind will probably be relegated to the deepest, darkest reaches of the darknet, and it will have to be all people in like freaking IRC rooms and shit that do the social media down there.
Yeah, 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 potentially. Um, Let me see here. Okay, so I've just brought up paint. I'm gonna share my screen with you and show you what I'm gonna paint.
Just make sure not to scroll through the porn.
um, so here I have Microsoft Paint, which is the just the best thing ever made. And okay, so this is what I think. Uh, so a lot of people when they think about the singularity, they think that it's like it just is whoop, and then it that's not the best curve that I could have made. But it's like it's exponential. It's just a can I? I'm gonna make a better curve than that. Okay, one second. I gotta really steady my hand here.
You could just pull out the circle thing.
I could no, but I want to draw it. This is paint, okay? It allows you to draw things. So like this this is time, and like time is going this way, and then this is like I guess technology, technological advancement. We got T's on both sides. So this is time, and this is technology, right? So like a lot of people think like that's how this thing works. I don't think it is. I think it's more of a punctuated equilibrium. So basically, what we see is a massive, I guess, S curve to begin with. And then you see a smaller S curve. And then you see a smaller S curve. And then 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 a smaller S curve. The on so it on the in these punctuated equilibrium on the largest S curve there, that would be like, I don't know, going from let's say prokaryotes to eukaryotes, and then maybe the next S curve is so here I'll just draw I'll draw like a little bacteria, and then it goes to like a bigger cell with a nucleus, and that's the difference between a prokaryote and a eukaryote, right? And so like that's that S curve. And this S curve is like going from like a cell to like multi cells, right? You get a whole bunch of cells, and it's like super cool. And then like the next one, maybe it's like you get, I'm skipping a few steps here, but maybe you get like monkey, you know? And then like the next one's like human. And you can tell I'm doing this with my mouse. And then and then if you were to continue that, it's like we're in like a like on a smaller scale, we're still in like this like kind of like S curve thing, where they could just get faster and faster, and like here's the like here's the agricultural revolution, and then over here this is like the Bronze Age, and then this is like the Industrial Revolution, and then like this is like the computer revolution, and then eventually we get to like the AI revolution, and it just the punctuated equilibrium of S curves just it keeps getting shorter and shorter and shorter, and so like there are areas of stability that last for a while, but the length of that stability it gets shorter and shorter. So it's like it's almost as though we've been on an exponential curve basically since the dawn of life 4 billion years ago, but it's not strictly exponential. It has bumps here, and so that's my incredibly shitty drawing of what I think is actually occurring. What do you think, Breaker?
You know, with everything we talk about, this would make a lot of sense.
Uh,
Advancement increases over time.
yeah, advancement increases over time. It seems to be a thing, and it's like, well, now that we're at like the AI revolution or whatever, it's going to keep getting quicker. But I think that the happiest, and let me change colors here. The happiest place for man was probably right here at the bottom in this little green circle. I think that just before the agricultural revolution, when we were still doing hunter gatherer type of stuff, I think that is when man was happiest. I could be wrong. I've never lived a hunter gatherer lifestyle, but I mean, and maybe his life was short and brutish, but at the same time, you lived with a tribe, which was mostly your family, and you sat by the campfire every night, and you ate a whole bunch of meat and fruits and the occasional veggie, but you weren't reliant on grain. You weren't just eating just a ton of carbs all the time. You were getting exercise. You were fit. Like that was essentially what the human was designed for, and evolution is slow, so we barely had a chance to catch up to this agricultural revolution here, much less like the Bronze Age or the Industrial Revolution or any of these. We haven't caught up to these, and in my opinion, that's why I think depression has been increasing so much. I mean, there's probably a few good reasons, but like I think depression is so high because man is not meant to live in the AI age. We're just not evolved for it. We keep pushing the boundaries and making these new technologies, but it you know, in the quest to make man's life easier and more fulfilling, we've actually just made it sadder and more depressing. The often cited rat utopia experiment comes to mind. When you like, just because you have all of your food needs met doesn't mean that you're going to be happy and healthy. It doesn't mean that at all.
Peculiar thing. I had a weird thought about this like a week or so ago that I've never brought up with you before until now. Well, this gets like really fucking like Lovecraftian and bizarre, but I wonder if like to tie this in evolutionarily. I wonder if like why things like mammals, especially like these social mammals, when they find themselves in this like densely overpopulated situation, overpopulated but like overfed and overabundance, like everything is over. I wonder if that's somehow tied to our survival instinct on a deep evolutionary level. It's like if you suddenly find yourself in an environment that changes that quick from like brutish, grueling survival mode to like, everything seems more luxurious and convenient now. That might actually be a deeply ingrained evolutionary response to there's probably some type of Machiavellian predator around that's making this environment so good, so it's not to be trusted.
I mean, maybe. I think that the only circumstance where one finds themselves in such a nice environment is when they have been domesticated.
Yeah, I was like, think of the deeper implications of domestication, though, going all the way back down to the primordial levels. Like, when you're domesticated, it's like when everything gets too good, there's like some ineffable sensation where it's like something isn't quite right about this. This would mean that this degree of parasitism has been occurring since time immemorial on an evolutionary scale. And it's so this instinct to find these luxurious, overabundant environments depressing and morbid, and people start becoming conspiratorial. It's probably linked in with like some weird thing is causing this to happen. That this is so abnormal that it must be bad.
Well, I guess it's a little bit like one's relationship to Facebook, right? If something is really nice and free, then that's not the product. You're the product. In the same way, we treat cows very nicely. We protect them from any sort of predation. We give them a nice, stable environment where they can just walk around and eat the grass or eat food that we give them, and it's all provided to them. It's all very nice. And then we slaughter them and we eat their meat because the cow is the product. I mean, yeah, and if you look at it, I mean, I would argue that actually throughout the past, let's say, a few tens of thousands of years, maybe, human beings have been domesticating themselves. We have neonatalist appearances, especially in comparison to our ancestors. Our brow ridge has gotten a lot shorter. Our jaws have become weaker. And these are features that we see in domestication. It's actually called domestication syndrome, and you see some of these things pop up in humans. Humans have effectively domesticated themselves. I mean, unless it's not humans that are doing it, and it's in fact behind the scenes, it's Jaliens. But
Jaliens.
Yeah, but no,
I wasn't going as far as Jaliens per se. I was thinking like the theory I have regarding this is something akin to the legendary parasite protocol.
Okay.
I remember when I was talking, like, evolutionarily, this goes down extremely deep, like to the ground floor of your very being. This would go all the way down to like single cell organisms finding themselves in these environments. Single cell, like if you find yourself in a petri dish and it's like, there seems to be really easy and abundant food everywhere around me. I don't know quite what it is, but something isn't exactly right about this. And if you know scientifically with experiments observing animal behavior of various kinds, like animals in captivity, regardless of what the animal is, could be a mammal, reptile, insect, whatever, behaves very differently than in a wild environment.
I think that Brett Weinstein actually he pointed this out. I think that this was his reason for, I guess, distancing himself from the ivory tower that is, I guess, the scientific establishment. He pointed out that when you have mice that are raised for being used in the lab, they have abnormally long telomeres, and it kind of makes sense because, like, what makes sense in that context? You want to grow as quickly as possible, be strong, shrug off any sort of wounds that take place. To do so, you need your cells to divide well and rapidly, and then by the time they get to old age, all of them die from cancer. Well, why is that? It's because they have very long telomeres. Because they exist in a laboratory condition, there's a preference to live fast and die young rather than try to live to an older age. And so these mice, they have very long telomeres, and I guess that I'm trying to think about it, but I guess in theory they've become much more K-selected over, R-selected over K-selected. They're much more R-selected. Live fast, die young.
See, that's a similar thing happening with humans, isn't it? Life expectancy in a lot of situations seems to go down, and cancer rates are going up.
Cancer rates are going up. The weird thing is that life expectancy, it has gone up, but it's more statistical, and you know this, and I'm sure that many people know this, but for anyone who doesn't, I'll point it out. When the studies come out and they say, average human lifespan back in the 1800s or like 2,000 years ago or whatever, it was like 30. Well, that mostly has to do with infant mortality. If you lived beyond the age of 15, you could expect to live to 70. Like it wasn't that dissimilar from today. I think that the people today can still, especially in first world nations, they can still live a little bit longer than our ancestors, thanks to a massive investment, especially from the government and taxpayers, of keeping old people alive as long as possible. Massive investment of medical technology and resources. But I mean, we don't live that much longer when it comes to if you discount infant mortality rates, we don't live that much longer, and that's with all of our incredibly advanced medical technologies. It seems to me like I don't know how much all of this civilization has actually benefited us. Hence why, in my heart of hearts, I'm sort of an anarcho-primitivist. Just a little bit. I know that a lot of it doesn't make that much sense. That's what my heart tells me. That's what my emotions tell me. My feelings tell me to be an anarcho-primitivist.
I would also wonder, it would be interesting to know, I don't know whether this is true or not, it'd be interesting to find this out, but anecdotally speaking, from everything I've seen, usually when I see those stories of like, fantastical person lives to 100 plus years old, dilly-dee, it's usually, more often than not, in a third world country. In the Western world, it's usually someone relatively wealthy and well taken care of in an advanced facility of some kind that's kind of like synthetically keeping them alive. But in the third world, there's like where that doesn't exist, and you see like this prevalence of 100-plus-year-old people, usually women, but that shouldn't surprise anyone. Seems to happen a lot more in the third world than it otherwise should, given if it was only the technology, you would expect it to happen more in the Western world, but that's not the case.
I mean, you know, I think that you would have to distinguish not just first versus third, but also west versus east, because like Japan is a first world nation, but they tend to live extremely long. Maybe it's their diet of fish. I have no idea.
Oh, and they have a very homogenous diet where like food for them is like a quasi ritual of sorts, and like they'll eat literally the same exact thing for decades.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what they eat in Japan. Like I have Japanese food places around where I live, but it's sushi and ramen. Because I guess that's Americanized Japanese food. I have no idea what like Japanese people eat besides sushi and ramen. I'm not cultured enough to know that.
Mm. I wouldn't know off the top of my head, like authentic Japanese cuisine and what does it consist of? Like, well, like you brought up, it is very heavily fish based. I know.
Also, I'll tell you what, I love the shit out of some sushi and ramen. I mean, that is excellent food right there.
Wonderful. I need to find that ramen place that Gary from Nerdrotic was talking about. I think it was called Kaioken Noodles or something like. It's like a Dragon Ball Z anime themed ramen place, and you can literally get those gigantic bowls of ramen that is like a 5-course meal in one huge bowl that's as big as your torso, and it feeds like several people at once.
Yeah, sounds pretty good.
And it's filled with carrots and meat and vegetables, like all sitting on top of the steaming hot ramen. It's like, yeah.
You know, that's something that I so the a lot of the poor people in America, they're fat, they're obese, but they're also in certain things they're malnourished. They're not getting enough of some certain vitamins and minerals. They're not getting enough of some certain amino acids for their protein. So they have to keep eating because it's like imagine eating a steak, right? Like a steak has like all the nutrients that you could possibly need, and then imagine just subsisting off of ramen, right? It has like no nutrients in it, but a shit ton of calories. So you eat that, and you get fat, but you're actually malnourished if you just subsist off of ramen. You're fat but malnourished. I have a suspicion that this is the case for a lot of Americans probably. They a lot of carbohydrates, not a lot of actual nourishing food, and you know maybe the bugs are a solution to this. If we don't have enough protein to go around, then maybe we do have to start eating the bugs and living in the pod.
The boogs. Well, funny that you mention the boogs because, weirdly enough, in Japan, they technically do eat a lot of boogs, but they're sea boogs.
Yeah, see, I like the thing is that I love eating bugs, crab, lobster, oysters, squid, octopus. All of these are delicious sea bugs, and I will eat them all day, every day. I don't know if I want to eat a cricket though.
Mm. If you think about it, it would kind of make sense because the most prevalent insects that you could capture and even like quasi domesticate on a large scale to feed like villages worth of people would be locusts, and they only show up like once every so many years, and there's an odd chance about how many of them will show up, so that's not a reliable food source. So if you have like these big giant bugs in the water, if you were eating land bugs, like, there's not a lot of bugs around here. Well, wait a minute, these sea bugs, they're everywhere, there's a lot of them, and they're bigger.
True.
That would make a lot of sense as to why people like hunter-gatherers, for one, they would be like, oh, bugs, wonderful bugs. But hunter-gatherers live very far apart, and they're kind of scattered around, and they gather around big stretches of land, and they spend a lot of time doing it, and it's a very small tribe. Where you have a village and a civilizational size of people, it's like, okay, we need like 100 people to go out and just look for bugs, and that's going to feed 120 people for a couple days.
Well,
But
I would assume that if we were to like try to make everyone eat bugs on an industrial scale, we would probably do farming. It's not like we would just be like picking them out of like the backyard or something. We'd probably farm them. You know, they'd be like
yeah, with modern technology, you're right. But when the civilizations were switching over at first from hunter-gatherer to more agrarian-based living, they wouldn't have had the means and technology to harvest bugs at that scale, but they did have the means and technology to harvest sea bugs at that scale.
No, true, yeah. Yeah, I guess actually the ability to have a population just reliant on bugs for their protein, that's a result of modern day technology. The ability to like put them in a, you know, here's the other thing though. Okay, this is off the top of my head. I haven't looked into this, but I'm pretty sure that that mushrooms are a fairly good source of a lot of macronutrients and proteins. Maybe people could consider putting more mushrooms into their diet. I'm a big fan of mushrooms. I'm also a fan of
yeah. Well,
shrooms,
the problem you see with modern day mass-produced factory farmed mushrooms. You can look this up if you don't believe me, but one of the number one ways they grow them is on the dung of cows. So you're already having a bunch of cows that are edible in many ways around to grow the mushrooms on their dung. So, yeah. Like, mass-produced mushrooms is actually extremely difficult because we just so happen to find a certain strain of mushroom that grows on the shit of something we were already mass-producing anyway, so it made a lot of sense.
Right, yeah. Okay, so here's a question, right? So, we feed cows different things, right? Like some cows are wild fed; they eat grass. That's what's good for them. In more of the factory farming approach, we just give them corn. Like here, eat corn, you stupid cow, and it's probably not as good for them, but you know, we give it to them anyway. So my question is, number one, because I haven't looked into this whatsoever. This is off the top of my head. But does that affect I guess the nutrients that are in the meat? Like, is the grass-fed cow actually does it have more like nutrient dense flesh that we can consume? And then my second question is, does what the cow is given to eat, does that affect the mushrooms that we can grow in its dung? Like if there's a mushroom that's grown on grass-fed cow dung, is that going to be a higher quality mushroom than the mushroom that's fed on the corn-fed cow dung? I don't know the answer, but my gut tells me, yeah, there would be a difference.
Well, one thing that kind of goes into that, you can look this up. Like, there's two different ways of doing this, but I think the way they eventually settled on was actually feeding the cows a certain thing. They put a certain additive in the cow feed. They used to do it, go around the farm and like sprinkle this dust over everything that was much less efficient and much less guaranteed to do this. But the reason I'm bringing this up, first off, is that farmers were getting sick of fucking hippies breaking in and trespassing on their farms to pick certain specialized mushrooms that would grow on cow piles in the field. And you know the type of mushrooms I'm talking about.
I love those mushrooms. Those are some mushrooms.
Yeah.
They're not as nutritionally dense, but they have some other qualities that make them quite appealing.
Yeah, I would not recommend using these as a food source.
No, Jesus Christ, no.
You would just be royally fucked up all the time. I don't even know if you could live like that. But anyway, I think they ended up giving the cows a certain additive in the cow feed that once it goes to their system and they crap it out, those type of mushrooms simply won't grow on it.
Oh, huh.
So there is something that you can feed animals to prevent certain types of mushrooms from growing.
Interesting. Well, the more chemicals that we add to our food production, I'm sure the better the food becomes. Of course, that would just make sense.
Yeah, of course it fucking would. And then make sure to pump them full of hormones and antibiotics and like growth hormones, because if you eat meat that's filled with abnormally high levels of growth hormone, that's not going to have any negative consequences whatsoever. Like, I'm 6'5" for completely natural genetic reasons, when everyone in my family was like 5 something.
uh, Hey, you know what? The more chemicals, the better it tastes. That's something that I know as an American. Those processed foods, man, they are tasty. But with that, I think that's been an interesting discussion about evolution and man and food, and also the other political topics that we discussed. So, uh,
Yay.
yeah, with that, thank you everyone for listening. If you got to this point, if you could leave a like and a subscribe, it would benefit the channel immensely. We would very much appreciate it. With that, Breaker.
Remember, Super Mario, make sure you specifically like, share, and subscribe this. Well, you're already subscribed, like you're our #1 fan. And we might be having you on back on the show relatively soon, maybe for the holidays, who knows. Bing, bing, wahoo, yippee!
All right. With that, peace out, everyone.